Why was Zoroastrianism almost wiped out by Islam, but Hinduism wasn't? Abhijit Shira Rajanish says, from what I gather, Dharma seems to have declined rapidly in Gandhar and Kashmir soon after the arrival of foreign rulers, but didn't decline quite as severely in the other parts of northern and western India. What was different in Gandhar and Kashmir? Let me address the second one first. Dharma did not decline in Kashmir, it declined in Gandhar rapidly. Kashmir, it took a long, long time for Dharma to decline. Okay. Now, coming to Saloni's question, why was Zoroastrianism wiped out rapidly, very rapidly by Islam, but Hinduism did not? You see, what is the thing that we call Hinduism? It's the oldest known religious, cultural, civilizational practice in the world that still exists, right? It's thousands of years old, and it has absorbed all kinds of local folk traditions. Everything has been absorbed into it, and it's part of Hinduism. So if you look at the way our ancestors practiced what we call Hinduism in different parts of India, the practices were very different. They would worship local gods, local goddesses, folk deities, nature deities, rivers, mountains, hills, trees, ancestors, Pitrus. All kinds of local traditions were combined into Hinduism. A tremendously diverse, tremendously plural religion, if you want to call it a religion, right? And those traditions came back from thousands of years before, maybe tens of thousands of years. So these were very ancient practices. And Hinduism doesn't have this pyramidal military style command and control structure where if you do a decapitation strike at the very top, everything crumbles. It's not like that. Hinduism is completely decentralized. There is no pope in Hinduism. There is no cardinal. There are no priests. Priests, pandits and all we have, but we don't have bishops and cardinals and popes and all that. So if you take out that leadership portion, everything else just crumbles and collapses. It's not the case. And people held on to their heritage, their culture, their ancestral customs, because those went back thousands of years. So these are some of the reasons why Hinduism could not be wiped out by the Turks, even though they tried their best. It was not for a lack of trying that they were not able to convert the Indian subcontinent. But as we know, what is now what is now Pakistan, Bangladesh, that's almost exclusively Islamic now. Afghanistan, which was historically Gandhar, is almost exclusively like 99.99% Islamic today. So these things happen, right? So there was success, but today, even if you look at the overall population of the subcontinent, it's still majority Hindu, at least nominally. I'm not sure how many Indians today in India actually practice Hinduism. Some of them are Hindus only in name. Some of them have converted to some foreign religion quietly, secretly. And yeah, Hinduism is the way things are going, it will be extinct soon. 50 years, 100 years maximum, if we don't change course. But that's a different story. We'll not go into that right now. So that's why Hinduism, because of its incredible antiquity, because people were practicing these traditions for thousands of years, they didn't want to give them up, because we did not have this top-down structure. If you take out the leadership, top leadership, everything else collapses. And because of the incredible decentralization and plurality of Hinduism, that's why Hinduism could not be wiped out. Also because of the Varna Jati system, which acted as a preserver. The Varna Jati system acted as a preserver and savior of Hinduism. Okay? You may call it evil or whatever caste system you may call it. It's not a caste system, it's a Varna Jati system. It's a totally different thing. It's an organization of a self-organizing society, which every society has. So that's why Hinduism could not be wiped out. What about Zoroastrianism? Well, you see, Zoroastrianism, it emerged, we don't quite know when it emerged. Maybe around 700 BC or somewhere around that time. Probably after Cyrus the Great. His name was actual name was Kurush Vajrak. So most likely it is after the reign of Kurush that Zoroastrianism emerged. That's the consensus today. I'm not quite sure if it's true, but let's assume that's around that time that Zoroastrianism emerges. Zarathustra is born and he brings about this new religion, maybe around 600, 700 AD, BC, around that time. So, what was this new religion, Zoroastrianism? It was a polytheistic revolt against Hinduism. See, before Zarathustra, Persia had only one religion and culture, which was Hinduism. Okay? The old Vedic religion. Let's ask Google if Google agrees. Let's ask Google if many people will disagree and Google may disagree, but let's see. Okay, what was the pre-Zoroastrian religion of Persia? Let's see what it says. Okay, this is going to be fun. The pre-Zoroastrian religion of Persia was the ancient Indo-Iranian religion, a polytheistic and shamanistic faith that shared many similarities with the Vedic religion. Okay, so it is indirectly telling you that it was Hinduism. Pre-Iranian the old Indo-Iranian religion, shamanistic and polytheistic. What on earth is that? The old Indo-Iranian religion was Hinduism, Vedic Hinduism. So Persia was Hindu. Then Zarathustra comes into the picture and he says that we need to revolt against Hinduism. We need to reform Hinduism. He was another great reformer. We have so many reformers in society in India today, right? We have so many so-called reformers of Hindu society today who want to reform the backward religion called Hinduism. So Zarathustra was one of those. He was born a Hindu. He said, I will reform Hinduism and I will create this new religion or an inversion of Hinduism, which eventually came to be known as Zoroastrianism in the English language. So this was a polytheistic religion. And now some people will say it was a monotheistic religion. Many Parsis will say it was monotheistic. If Zoroastrianism was monotheistic, why was Mitra a deity in Zoroastrianism? Let me show you. Okay. First of all, the Romans worship Mitra. Okay, so Mithraism. What was Mithraism? An ancient Roman mystery religion. Let's see what Wikipedia has to say about this, even though it's not necessarily a reliable source of information. So it was a Roman mystery religion. It was inspired by Iranian worship of the Zoroastrian divinity Mitra, the Zoroastrian god, in Iranian god. Okay, so as you can see that this is, and they will say it's a Yazata, which is a divinity, which means a god. And who was Mitra? It comes from the Sanskrit word Mitram, and the common noun Mitra, Vedic common noun Mitra. So what is Mitra? Mitra is a Vedic god, Mitra Varun. So the point is, Zoroastrianism was a polytheistic religion, but it was an inversion of Hinduism. The Devas became the bad guys, the Asuras became the good guys, that sort of thing. And you see, Zoroastrianism was not deeply rooted in society. It was imposed somehow upon society. We don't quite know how. And 1,000 years is not a long time for a religion to take root, which has been imposed externally on society. It did not emerge organically like what we call Hinduism did over thousands of years, maybe tens of thousands of years. Zoroastrianism was an artificial religion. So it was imposed somehow on Persian society. But when Islam came, I suppose Zoroastrianism may have had this sort of structure where if you take out the priests, the dasturs or whatever, then the whole society, the whole system collapses. And that's why Zoroastrianism was easy to wipe out from Persia. Of course, some Zoroastrians refused to convert and they had no option but to flee. They fled to India, obviously, because, well, who else will welcome them but their own people, the Indians? So that's why Zoroastrianism was wiped out rapidly. Hinduism could not be wiped out. What about Gandhar and Kashmir? See, Gandhar, present Afghanistan, 1,000 years ago, was almost entirely Buddhist, not Hindu. If you want to differentiate between Hinduism and Buddhism, like today people do, so then it was Buddhist, it was not Hindu. There was Hinduism, but it was not the majority thing. It was Buddhism. You will see that Central Asia also was mostly Buddhist at that time. And whenever you had Buddhism, there was a very rapid conversion to Islam. You've heard of Muhammad Ghori, right? Muhammad Ghori's ancestors were Buddhists who converted to Islam. So wherever you had Buddhism, for whatever reason, there was very rapid conversion to Islam without much resistance. No fight back. Just convert. Why is it so? Well, ask yourselves about the nature of Buddhism. I will not go into that in detail. I will not. But try and find out what is different between Buddhism and Hinduism. Why did all the Buddhist regions of Central Asia, Gandhar, etc., convert so rapidly to Islam, but Hinduism did not? So Kashmir was Hindu, it was Shaivite, and Kashmir did not convert to Islam for several centuries after Gandhar. It's only in the last 300 or so years that those mass conversions by force, not voluntarily. So these are the differences between these different cultures and why the things happened the way they did. All right.